Yes people, welcome back to the Knots Cave. It's good to be in front of the camera again. Now I've finally put the Arcade controller down. But come on guys, what did you think of Alligator Hunt? That game is a proper diamond in the rough for a console that has a sea of terrible cartridges. So yeah, if you're an Arcade collector and you only want to get the games you want to play, I suggest you get that because Alligator Hunt is really good. Anyway, this video is not about that. This video is about a little accessory that we bought for our Super Famicom. If you cast your mind back a few months and remember, we purchased a Super Famicom bundle on Retro Chef Swap Shop from the beautiful, sexy Goldtooth Gaming. Yes, and even delivered it, didn't he? Can you remember? Sung me a song. It was a lovely day. I really did enjoy that. But yes, we have a sea of Super Famicom games over here that I can't really play because the picture quality from that machine on its basic component lead is terrible. And unfortunately, Knots Game only has a flat panel telly in his Knots Cave, so we can't plug it into a CRT and get the original picture quality we wanted. But I really want to clean this picture up because I'm getting lots of noise, lots of distortion and lots of really horrible ghosting on the screen as well. So I had a hunt around online for a cheap option that's not intrusive, so I don't want to open up the Super Famicom and start messing with things because I broke so many of those in my lifetime, people. Honestly, I just opened a SNES, screw it back together and it never worked. I remember throwing quite a few in the bin when I was a teenager. But yes, we've had a look around online and for about 20 quid we managed to find a HDMI adapter by Kaico. This is compatible with the SNES, the Super Famicom, the Nintendo 64 and GameCube. So if this is any good, we'll be able to stick it to the back of all of those consoles, people. So let's jump over to the bench, unbox this plug and play thing. Plug and play. Oh, we're going to have a problem. I know we're going to have a problem. It's too simple for us not to have a problem, this. But let's jump over, plug some stuff in and see if the results we get from this are better on our flat panel than they were with the standard component leads. Yes. And out of the box, it looks like absolutely every other manufacturer's upscale lead that we've all seen on Amazon, eBay and the like. Lovely aluminium shell nestling your device and then the selected console of choice plug on the end. So, you know, as build quality goes, it's there. There's a little switch on here that toggles between AV and SV. Not sure what that is, but once we plug this into the Super Nintendo, we'll find out. So let's get it plugged in, mate. So we'll start off with Final Fight 2. We've got the little switch on our box flicked to the SV mode, which I'm going to call Super Video, people. Probably isn't. But the first thing you notice when this mode is enabled is there is a filter placed over the game. You can see the softness in between the pixels there, which on a bigger telly is very bad to look at. The colour is massively washed out. I've left all the colour on these games exactly as these leads are presented it to me through my capture card. So as you can see here in Final Fight, a lot of the greys are toned up so much with the contrast there. Now white, any scenes with white and light greys in become just like a sea of bad contrast. So some adjustment on your television can get it working, but that's not the worst problem I noticed with this lead in SV mode. There's a little bit of a de-interlacing filter there that does pop up every now and then when attacking the guys. You can see a few frames that don't quite get picked up by that de-interlaced filter. But the biggest problem in this mode I have noticed, and I noticed it straight away from playing Final Fight, is the sheer amount of input lag introduced to the game when playing it. Now if you've played this before in the past, you will notice it straight away. The lag is very noticeable. But if you're new to the SNES and you've never played these games before, knock yourself out, get this lead, you won't notice the lag, have fun with Final Fight, just make sure the colours are adjusted. Anyway, let's flick that switch, look at AV mode and see if it makes any difference. So here we are, we've set it to AV mode, we've flicked the switch again and straight away I'm noticing an even bigger degrading picture quality here. It's very soft, it's very noisy, you've got all those little dots in the graphics you used to get with the SNES. Where it's not quite filled in properly. The one thing I will say, people, is a lot of the input lag seems to have subsided. Not using the filter you use as in the other mode, the game feels a lot more responsive versus the other mode. Not exactly as it should be, but a hell of a lot closer, people. But just look, in terms of graphics, they suffer massively here. The colours and the contrast are even more out. The de-interlacing filter is even more obvious on the bodies on the floor as the enemies disappear. But I just don't know why, instead of including two modes with this adapter, they didn't just work on one decent one, because this solution has the best input latency and the other solution has a better image, and both of them are bad. So bad, in fact, that I think I know where this cable's going after this video. So let's check out the next game. Next up we have Area 88, or as the rest of the world knows this game, UN Squadron. It's a beautiful 2D shooter for the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. I've been playing this quite a bit since I bought the Super Famicom Gold 2, I won't lie. I've been playing this in my Retro on 5. It's a very, very nice shoot 'em up. And one of the first things we noticed, just because this is the shoot 'em up, is that the enemies move fast, people. Their weaponry can fire rather fast. And with the lag introduced by this cable, it's quite difficult to dodge these things and shoot the enemies exactly where you want to. So the game is hampered by this, unfortunately. I've been playing this a lot on my Retro on 5, which also isn't fantastic in terms of the way it plays back, but it's much better than this. It looks much more colourful than this too. The backgrounds are very, very, very washed out. That blue should be really, really vibrant. A lot of the colours just seem so washed out, almost pastel-like, which is a shame. And I don't know if it's just me that can notice this. The screen does seem to bounce up and down slightly as well as the game's scrolling along. So that seems to be another symptom of this display adapter, which is not very good. It can only get worse, people. This lead can only get worse, yes. So moving over to AV mode, once again we get a much softer picture, and the edges of lots of the colours in this image are filled with noise again. The game does play faster, it feels more responsive, and it's a lot easier to play. So, you know, that is a plus. But the ultimate sacrifice is here. We've washed away even more colour from the game and introduced much more contrast, making it much more difficult for you to get your TV set just right to get that picture. And obviously capturing this just captures the default that it's set at, which is a horrible, soft, noisy looking picture. Yes, I haven't got a good feeling about this cable, people. I'm going to find it very difficult to recommend it to you Super Nintendo users. Yes. So we moved on to Gradius 3 next. The game does look okay through this lead. A lot of the detail on the enemies is lost again due to that contrast issue. But the biggest problem here, people, I mean, if input lag, you know, you think it doesn't exist, when it comes to playing shoot-em-ups and a cable introduces this much lag, it's surprising that I made it through the first stage of Gradius, because I had so many near misses with those bullets and the timings of moving and stuff that it really, really does affect shoot-em-ups, guys. If you're playing RPGs and strategy games and slow stuff, that's fine. If you're playing shoot-em-ups, beat-em-ups, driving games, then input lag is really going to give you a bad day when you're trying to play. Flicking away from Super Video mode back to Actual Video mode, which I'm going to call AV now, Actual Video. It reduces the input lag again, but as you can see, the picture has suffered so bad with Gradius here. The ship looks completely white, all the grey's lost. You've got lovely noise around all the colours on screen, but more importantly, people, a bit of that latency's got better, so that getting through a shoot 'em up is a little more feasible than it is in the other mode. Again, cannot recommend this cable whatsoever to anyone using shoot 'em ups. I'm getting really annoyed with this now, because playing these games through my OSSC gave me stuttering sound. I couldn't really get it working with the SNES, and there was a lot of noise in there. I'm actually considering now revisiting the OSSC and having a tinker with the settings to see if that makes a difference. Next up, we will punish ourselves even more with this lead by playing Yu Hakusho 2. I think that's how it's pronounced. I did use Google Lens to translate the box. This is one of the games that came in the Gold Tooth bundle. It's quite a nice beat 'em up. It's rather fast. Didn't really know the move set, but I did kind of struggle a little bit because it felt like it was a bit floaty and a bit slow, and apparently it's not a bad game to play, but I struggled here. But on flicking over from Super Video to Actual Video, the game did become so much more playable. Even in the video here, it looks faster, but that de-interlacing filter that doesn't quite work correctly keeps showing up whenever there's screen shake on this. You just get horizontal lines through the screen. And yeah, I mean, it's a good fighting game, but I'm not prepared to play my SNES games with its leads. So the best thing to do now is continue to punish all of your eyeballs and my own, and carry on flicking through some of these hideous looking, that really should look good, SNES games. Even a game like Super Turrican 2, the Notch gamer knows like the back of his hand, felt quite alien to me in Super Video mode, because the controls, they are that off. This is going to be a half an hour video of me complaining how bad this cable is. Don't buy it, people. Don't buy it. Watch this video all the way to the end to make sure you don't buy this cable, because I know Super Turrican inside out and it felt completely alien to me. Even when flicking to Actual Video mode and putting up with that slightly more disgusting looking picture, I can still notice that this mode does introduce latency versus playing it on a normal CRT, because I know this game so well. So please guys, don't expect to have this cable and be your sort of one-hit wonder to be able to plug your SNES in and play everything as it was, because you're just going to play these games and think, why did I enjoy them in the first place? This lead really does ruin the experience quite a lot. And I can't recommend it any lower, guys. It made my Super Turrican 2 experience really, really pants. Yes. So for a lovely side-by-side comparison, we have SV on the left and AV on the right. We have Ryu from Super Street Fighter here demonstrating the horrible difference between these two modes and why you shouldn't try either. Here we are fighting Blanca in SV mode. The game looks okay. Again, I'm going over the same stuff every game here where the colour looks bad and everything looks bad. But Street Fighter was particularly difficult to play with this mode enabled. It's pulling off the special moves, wasn't quite working right. And yeah, those light and medium attacks, you've got no chance if they go for one of them, but countering, it's just too slow. Don't want to feel like I'm repeating myself here, but yes, we got a little bit more control back. And the picture has just gone into contrast. Nightmare land. But this is all about to change, guys, because by the time I'd got to Super Street Fighter 2, I thought, you know what, I sat down, I thought, I'm going to have a go at this, and I messed around with the settings in my OSSC, and I got my SNES to work. So this is how Super Street Fighter 2 should really look, obviously without the scan lines. Now that's better, isn't it, people? This is what Super Street Fighter 2 on the SNES actually looks like. You can see how bland, colourless and high contrast this video has been so far. The game regains the vast majority of the latency here. It's not exactly as a CRT response time should be, but with an OSSC it is a lot better. It's just unfortunate this video wasn't supposed to be about this, it's supposed to be about the lead, but it's then gone to show me and everyone else, you guys included that's watching this video, just how bad the Kaico HDMI adapter is for the SNES. Don't get it, people. Right, okay, thank you to anyone that's made it this far into the video. I know I've dragged this on a bit, but I want to show you as many different game types as I can, just so you can get a feel for what this lead is, before you rush out and mistakenly buy something you think is better than it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a race on Mute City 1, and I'm going to change the video source every lap. See you at the finish line. Well, the difference between this and a decent cable's like night and day, people. So like I said earlier in the video, there's only one place for this. So that's it, people. That's the Kaico HDMI adapter for Super Famicom, GameCube and Nintendo 64. I was so disappointed with how it performed on the Super Famicom that I'm not even going to bother trying that in my Nintendo 64 or my GameCube. So if you're looking for a solution for your Super Nintendo to get it onto a modern TV, stick with the leads that came with the console. They'll give you a much better picture than this will. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Yes.